Hey guys, today we're driving a 2009 NC Miata. This is my first time driving one of these in a while. I drove an NC back in 2006 when they first came out, and a couple on track here and there, but for the most part, haven't really spent a lot of time in this generation. We have 167 horsepower, just shy of 170 horsepower in this. 5-speed manual transmission. This is a base model without the limited slip differential. We have a couple modifications. We have Ohlin's dampers and or Ohlin's coilovers, Enkei wheels on Dunlop Dureza. These are Z3s, 245 40 R17s. Pretty aggressive tire setup. Square alignment set up for track. I believe we have stock brakes. Pretty good looking Miata. This belongs to a good friend of mine. Let's take it for a drive. We've got some decent back roads up here. We're gonna rock this with the top down today. Should be fun. Oh, and we're also following my 2022 Subaru BRZ. We get cruise control, volume controls, and track selection controls on our steering wheel, aux ports, radio, climate control, but otherwise a very simple driver-focused cabin. I do really like the size of these NC Miatas. They seem to be just about the right interior space. The NDs, even though they're a much lighter, more capable chassis, they get a little small, they get a little tight. BRZ definitely has some legs on this NC with its 228 horsepower. But we have hydraulic power steering, very grippy, high performance summer tires or track tires. With this tire setup and power level, you don't really notice that this is lacking a limited slip diff. And of course, one of the best things about a Miata is that you can drive it with the top down. And that's what we're doing today. Great throttle response from this 2-liter inline 4-cylinder. Revs to a little over 7,000 RPM. Looks like maybe a 7,400 RPM red line. Don't know exactly. This 5-speed is crisp, beautifully short throw. Revs drop very easily and predictably. It is amazing how much more torque and power is in the new cars. This generation of Miata is still very much slow car fast. It's a momentum car, whereas the new car definitely has a lot more performance to it. You can just go flat through half the corners. Of course, we have hydraulic power steering, so we get all the steering feel. A lot of communication with the road surface, the bumps. You can see it getting kicked around a little bit as we go over this rougher section of road. We have coolant temperature gauge, oil pressure gauge, fuel gauge, tach, and speedometer. And it looks like a couple of different trip settings. Trip A, Trip B, MPG. Average is 27.7 in this car. That's pretty good. We also have a temperature meter. Nice. All the bare necessities, all the basic information you would need out of your 2009 MX-5 Miata. I've always felt that the NC generation has gone slightly under the radar, been a little bit underappreciated But I think between this and the new ND, I kind of have a little bit of a preference for these NCs. The ND modified is a fantastic car, but again, it's a little bit tight, a little bit small. This is a nice size. You still get modern safety equipment. The NAs, I think, are still probably the most fun. I mean, ultimately, you can't really go wrong with any generation, but I definitely have a newfound appreciation for the NC, especially the NC2s and NC3s. These cars were highly developed by Mazda to be very track capable. A lot of racing went into the MX-5 Cup with these cars. They share a lot of parts with the RX-8 too, which is pretty cool. The brakes on this feel really nice. Very responsive. Tons of bite. Of course, this doesn't weigh very much either. They were still heavier than the NA at B Miatas, but not by too much. I believe this is still under 2,600 pounds. The BRZ is just over 2,800 pounds. For this generation, Mazda also produced the PRHT, the Power Retractable Hardtop Miata. This, though, is a soft top. It's just one lever, you pull back, throw that top back behind you, it clicks into place. You've got a little bit of a windscreen right here, too, which is nice. Windows up, very minimal wind buffeting. I'm getting just a little bit of wind padding on the top of my head, but that's about it. A lot of people swap these with the 2.5 motors out of the Mazda 3. It's a relatively easy swap. You can also go to V8 Roadsters and you get a full kit. Unfortunately, BBR turbo kits, supercharger kits are kind of pricey for these NCs. But a few little things here and there, and you can get enough out of this 2-liter inline 4. I think one of the most important things with these Miatas is just the sound that they make. With a nice exhaust, you can get these to rip around and they'll hold their own on track. They're quick enough for the street, and the whole experience just comes together as that classic Miata Roadster feel. We even have cruise control on this. Pretty easy to engage. You just got a little light here on the dash. It turns green when it's engaged, yellow when it's disengaged. No speed readout or anything, but you can just kind of bump the selector up and down to go faster or go slower, and that's it. Simple, straightforward. It is great driving cars from this era, pre-infotainment, pre-touch screens, pre-distractions. The new Miata has the whole scroll wheel corporate screen from the rest of the Mazda lineup, and it's okay. It works well enough. It is nice to see the addition of Apple CarPlay in the new ND Miata, but this is when cars were driver focused, a little bit more purist oriented, I think. Yes, I do enjoy CarPlay in my BRZ, but everything else about that car feels old school. And everything about this Miata is about driving. It's focused on the driving experience. You get an aux cable, that's about it. Windows down, we get a little bit more wind buffeting in the cabin, but again, it's not too bad. I'm not getting blasted by gusts of wind at 60 miles an hour. It kind of gives you the taste of the convertible experience. I like it. This car only has 36,000 miles on it. Pretty low mileage for an 09. Super clean car, no rust. Can't remember if it was a Southern car or not. aside from a little bit of tire and wind noise, this is a super livable car on the highway. I'm pretty impressed, actually. All right, let's try a little bit of top-up driving. See what this feels like with the roof up. BRZ really doesn't have that many legs on the Miata. In the real world, they're pretty evenly matched. Maybe on track, the extra power from the BRZ would outpace it, but I don't know, this is quick enough. So, no traction control, simplest, lightest Miata available, the base model. The only negative is it didn't come with a limited slip from the factory in 09, though you can retrofit one. Go on eBay, get one about $400 shipped. That's probably a good solution, or if you want to go fancier, you can go with like a Geiken or something like that. Steering's pretty good. Really stable on this wheel and tire setup. This would be an excellent track car. Great learner's tool. Pretty predictable and stable to drive, especially on this over-tired setup on these 17-inch wheels. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure driving this 2009 base model NC2 Miata. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Great little car for light-duty track work, daily driving, a fun weekend toy. A lot of modifications and changes that you can do to these cars. Huge aftermarket. They're reasonably affordable these days. Pretty nice brakes too. All right, that's it for this one. We'll see you guys later. Take it easy.